What's going on, guys? In this video we're going to be talking about a very popular topic here on this channel. We're talking affordable fragrances, and more specifically for the autumn season. Now, this is, in my opinion, the best season for somebody that's into fragrances. Fragrance lovers, this is where it's at, because you can still get away with the freshies without them being too light for the season, but you can really start dialing things up with boozy fragrances, spicy fragrances, floral fragrances, tobacco fragrances, and so on. You can really expand your palette and your wardrobe in the fall season. So I have a ton of great, affordable, sub $50 fall fragrances. So one video just wasn't going to cut it for this particular season. I've got 10 more to discuss with you guys, so stay tuned. Starting with one that's kind of a do-it-all, year-round, works fine in the warm weather, works great in the fall season. We're talking about the original Coach for Men. This is some really good stuff. I haven't been wearing this one recently. I talk about this one here today because it's something that I want to revisit. I want to spend some time with. When I put this list together for this video, I sprayed my arm earlier today, and I just found myself going back to my arm, sniffing and sniffing, because I just love the way the juicy pear comes across here. You have a nice lightly musked suede type of smell, amberwood ambroxan type of feel. It's definitely on the more synthetic side, but very mass appealing. I've gotten my fair share of compliments when wearing this one, and it's extremely versatile. It can do just about anything. I can tell you firsthand, it's a fantastic work fragrance. That's where the majority of this dent came from the 60 ml from a while back. I used to wear this one pretty often when I worked at Mercedes-Benz of Sugarland a few years ago, and this is just a great do-it-all. Like I said, it works morning, noon, and night. Not the best choice for the gym because I feel like it's better out and about for your day, but can work just fine for the gym, but great at work, great casually, great in the evenings, just flat out great for this particular season. Again, we're talking about Coach for Men. Next is one that I have yet to pull out and wear for this particular season, but I'm pretty excited about this one because it's known to be similar to Amen Ultra Zest. It's got that spicy yet orange creamsicle type of feel to it. Performance is really good, and it smells so good on my skin. We're talking about Paco Rabanne's Ultrared Man. This stuff is so good. Gimmicky bottle, looks like you're holding a big staple, one of them big hand grip staplers, staple gun. Man, this stuff smells good, though. Has that zesty, I believe it's a blood orange, but it's a zesty orange in the top. It's a little bit of spice to it. More fresh than warm. I don't find it very warm and spicy, but zesty orange spice settles into a much more creamy and sweet fragrance. Performance is easily 8 hours of longevity on my skin. It's pretty strong and stout in the first 2 hours. I wouldn't call it an overwhelming room-filling beast, but it's definitely very strong and well-pronounced with the projection in the first 2 hours. This stuff is really good. You can find it typically in the sub $50 price point from discounters online. It doesn't show up all the time, but it's not the hardest fragrance to find these days. It's really, really good stuff. Like I said, I'm pretty excited to wear this one this fall. I only wore it maybe once or twice last autumn. This year, I'm going to, at minimum, get 2 or 3 wearings out of it. I have so many fragrances, it's hard to get a ton of wearings per season, but this is one I'm pretty excited about. This is going on the rotation table. I will be spraying this one as regularly as I can, because I'm excited about it. Like I said, it's Paco Rabanne Ultrared Man. So this one's pretty new to the collection. You can get it in the mid $30 range. It is the newest release in the Bentley Momentum line. This is Bentley Momentum Unbreakable. I actually did a full review not that long ago on this fragrance. It's a fresh green herbal iris type of fragrance. Just really good stuff. The versatility's there. It doesn't remind me of any other iris fragrance. Like, it's an original iris scent profile to me personally. I say that not having smelled every iris fragrance ever created, but for me, it's on the more unique side as far as green, fresh iris. There's, like I said, the reason I say green is because there's so many herbaceous, fresh green notes to it. The iris is very dominant. There's a little bit of a smoky tone to it. It's very woody in its backbone. It's a hyper-versatile fragrance. It's not fresh and playful. It leans more to the serious side of things, but I wouldn't call it some very formal, daring scent. It's definitely one that I think would be great for the workplace, great casually on those mild days. I would lean a little bit more towards the cooler fall days than the warmer fall days, but even if it's 70, 80 degrees outside, as long as the humidity is not 100%, I think this will be just fine. Check this one out. Not too many people are talking about it. I don't see scent of the day post by anybody. It's kind of flying under the radar, and it's perfect for this particular season. Again, that's Bentley Momentum Unbreakable. Might as well talk about another car company fragrance. So this is one that I haven't spent time with in a while. There was a time when I loved to wear this, most notably when I worked at Mercedes, like I was talking about with Coach for Men. The theme of this year for me is reaching back into my collection. Those of you that watch my videos on a regular basis, you've heard me bring that up. So there's channel favorites that I haven't worn in quite some time, and Mercedes-Benz Intense is definitely one of those. In the realm of Dior Fahrenheit without the leather is kind of how you can look at this one. Does not smell cheap. Quality's there. Performance is there. This stuff is awesome. This is awesome. It's understated how good of a fragrance Mercedes-Benz Intense actually is. I used to wear this one pretty often, not all the time, but it's one that I really enjoyed wearing. The original Mercedes-Benz, the clear bottle like this, is kind of a fresh aqua Fahrenheit cologne, like in the realm of those fresher versions of Fahrenheit, whereas this is closer to Fahrenheit. Like I said, you take away the leather note, you kind of pretty much have Fahrenheit here in this bottle. Not exact one-to-one, but you can definitely tell that's the route they were going. It's clean, it's inviting, a lot of violet leaf and violet here. It's not super powdery. It does have a little bit of that petroleum, gasoline smell that violet leaf combo can provide, that Dior Fahrenheit is known for. Very attractive, timeless scent profile at this point. This scent profile has been around for, close to 40 years at this point. In the realm of it, because Fahrenheit came out in the 80s. I don't remember the exact year, but I believe it was in the 80s, if my memory serves me correctly. And I think they reworked it pretty well here with Mercedes-Benz Intense. This is a fragrance that you can get in the sub $40 price point. Like I said before, performance is great. It's an 8+ hour fragrance on my skin. It is pretty loud. If you're the moderate to heavy spraying type, you're going to pull some attention with this stuff. Definitely check this one out. Nobody ever talks about this one anymore. Shame on me, because it's one of my all-time favorites from the brand. It's Mercedes-Benz Intense. Next, this is a new release from this year that already hit discounters. I bought this from FragranceNet for like right around $36 after the 37% off coupon code. It's a flanker to one of my favorite blue fragrances to release in a long time. It is Rochas Aromatic Touch. So, as you would expect, there's still plenty of aromatics, just like in the original Rochas, but here, you're going to get a lot of fresh and slightly earthy greens, dense woods. It's a very green and woody fragrance that doesn't come across challenging. It does smell of quality, doesn't come across as cheap, and it's crazy to me at how quickly this actually hit discounters and got really, really cheap. Sub $40 price point for a 2022 release that has only been out for a few months. This is a solid fragrance. If you like green dominant fragrances with a nice woody backdrop that doesn't have too much of a smoky earthy tone, light fresh earthy tones, not dark and more animalics to it or anything, if you like that fresher style, you'll probably like this fragrance. This is the season that I deem it perfect for. I'm glad to have it just in time for the season. I haven't had this one long. I actually featured this one in a blind smell and rate with Justin and Andrea from Curly Scents, and they absolutely loved this fragrance. So get your nose on it if you can some kind of way. It's in the sub $40 price point. If anything I said sounds good, find a way to secure a small decant or something. This is a great cheap gem for the fall season. It's Rochas Aromatic Touch. Next is one that I did kind of enjoy for a good stretch last fall going into winter. This was one that I had kind of wrote off because I had the original for a long time. The original's okay, but I always thought the Intense wouldn't be anything special, and it turns out the Intense is the definitive version of the scent DNA. We're talking about Montblanc Emblem, but this is Montblanc Emblem Intense. I was very, very pleasantly surprised the first time I smelled this one with how good it actually is. $30 price point is going to get you a 100 milliliter bottle. This 60 ml I got for around $30 at I believe it was Marshall's. I was fine with that. 60 ml goes a very long way for me. It's sweet and fruity and spicy. It's woody. Like it's a fruity sweet type of smell. A lot of cinnamon here. It's got a little bit of a bubblegummy feel, kind of a sage type of smell. I don't even recall if sage is in here, but kind of the bubblegum feel that a light sage note can provide, because that's what the original was about. And like I said, the original's solid. It's a great beginner fragrance early in your collecting phase when you're starting to get into this hobby. It's a solid fragrance. This is definitely the definitive version of Emblem and Emblem Absolute. Absolute, not Absolute. It's okay. It's another one. It's kind of like a sweeter Boss bottled. I never reach for that one. I had already had that before I had this as well. So that's why it was easy for me to just write this off as, the line's nothing special. And I'm not sitting here saying this is the greatest, flying under the radar hidden gem fragrance from Montblanc, but I feel like it's a great addition for somebody who doesn't want to spend a lot of money and is looking for something that's a little bit different from everything that's been coming out in the last few years for the fall season. Because like I said, you're not going to spend a lot of money. 60 mLs like this are in the mid $20 range from discounters online. Like I said, 100 mLs right around $30. Performance is above average. It's good stuff. It's versatile, definitely more on the casual and playful side, not very serious, but polo shirt, you can rock this one just fine in the fall. And that's Montblanc Emblem Intense. I gotta have something spicy in this video that really dominates with pepper, red pepper, a little bit of cashmere wood to smooth it out, but there's a pink pepper note here as well. It offers a little bit of sweet spice. This is another one that I tend to talk about pretty much every fall. I strictly wear it in the fall a few times every year. We're talking about Azzaro Hot Pepper. This is really good stuff. Still can be found in the sub $40 price point. This is a tester bottle. You can see on the back at the bottom, it shows some tester information. Comes in a white tester box, but it has a cap, so I'm good with that. This stuff's really good, guys. Red hot, sweet pepper spice. Smooth cashmere wood. It's a little musky, very clean, musky, woody smell in the dry down. Performance is kind of in the average to slightly above average range. Not super strong by any means, but this stuff just smells so freaking good. This is my favorite of the little collect. The only one I don't have is Amber Fever. I have Naughty Leather, that's really good. Ginger Lover's really good. Wild Mint's really good. All of them are really good, in my opinion. But this one is the cream of the crop for me because I just love spicy fragrances more so than those other scent profiles. And trust me, I love ginger, I love mint. So those two are really good. But this stuff, it shines. It's very casual. It's not one I would really want to dress up, but at the same time, I think this works fine on dinner dates, date night settings with your lady. This stuff's really good because spicier fragrances tend to fall in that seductive aroma type of scent profile. This definitely has that going for it, and it's cheap. It's hard to beat for the price point. Check this one out because nobody really talks about it. It's Azzaro Hot Pepper. Now, this isn't always the easiest fragrance to find. When you can find it, it is sub $50, usually in that $40 price point. It's one of the better blue fragrances that doesn't really get any love. I've given it its share of love over the years on my channel. This was a beginning of 2020 release. I think it came out in like January of 2020. We're talking about the self-titled Ferragamo from Salvatore Ferragamo. This has since spawned 2 or 3 flankers. I think 3 flankers at this point. Spicy leather, and it might just be those 2. I want to say there's a third one as well. Yeah, there's a third one as well. I haven't smelled any of those. But I'll tell you what, if you like violet leaf and fresh greens, you'll probably like this. It has a metallic note to it from the violet leaf. Nice aromatic sage type of feel. Little bit bubblegummy blue, but not much here. That metallic tone really ties into it. There's some fresh green spice to this fragrance. Performance is on the sneaky side. You'll think it's faded away when really you're just getting a little olfactory fatigue. You'll walk by somebody and they may potentially tell you smell nice. That actually happened to me. That's why I say it's kind of sneaky in its performance, because that happened the time I'm talking about it, like the 7 or 8 hour mark with this fragrance, you don't realize what your trail is like because you're not walking in your trail. You know, it's not the easiest thing to judge when your nose wears out. And this one definitely does that. This is extremely versatile. This is one of those fragrances that can literally do it all. I do think it's better for the spring and the fall seasons more so than the summer and the winter, because I don't think it does great in very high heat, and I don't think it does great in very cold weather either. Now, if you have much more mild winters, you're fine. You have a milder winter, you're good. It's one of those deals where, like where I'm at, where I get piles of snow and, you know, negative temperatures, yeah, this isn't going to do that well cutting through the cold. But in the fall, mild weather where it's a little warm some days and it's a little cool other days, that's where this stuff becomes a superstar. One of my favorites in my collection that I don't wear often enough, but I'll tell you what, this particular fall season, I will be reaching for it. Again, this is Salvatore Ferragamo. Now, this is a blast from the past because I have not wore this in the last 4 seasons for sure. I have not spent any time with it. It's one of my all-time favorite scent profiles that, shame on me, I forget I have sometimes. I got a big 200 ml bottle. I have a little bit left in my 1 ounce bottle. We're talking about Boss number 6. The original Boss bottled. This is my big 200 milliliter bottle. There's a reason I have 200 milliliters, because I love this fragrance. I always have. Warm apple pie. It's a little sharp. The way the woods come across with the cinnamon, the green apple. There's a lot more going on here than that, but that's the main notes that you're going to smell. It's a very sharp fragrance, and I mean that from the way I like to dress with this one, as well as the sharpness to the scent profile. It's got an edge to it. This is great with a gray suit. Those of you who've been watching me a long time, you've heard me talk about this before. I have a gray suit. This is like my go-to with my gray suit. My blue suit, I mix it up a bit more, but this is one of the first fragrances I think about with my gray suit. I don't know, just something about it. Maybe my mind's playing tricks on me because of the cap. I don't know, it works so well with a gray suit, but it also does just as fine casually. This is one of those signature scents from the 90s that to me is a timeless classic that will never get old. It's spawned tons of flankers that relate to the DNA, that veer completely away from the DNA, and they're just making a cash grab off of the name and the success of the fragrance, and so on. There's countless versions of Boss Bottled. But its original name was not Boss Bottled, it's actually Boss number 6, because for the longest time they numbered their fragrances. Boss number 1, Boss number 5, Boss number 4, and so on. This was Boss Men's Fragrance number 6. And like I said, it's a timeless classic to me. Does not get old. It's one that, like I said before, the theme of this year is reaching back in my collection. This is perfect for the fall. I'm reaching back for this one this particular fall. Check this one out. If for some reason you've never smelled this before, you really should, because this is one of those quintessential 90s fragrances that to me is timeless. It's Hugo Boss, Boss number 6, also known as Boss Bottled. Last but not least, you can get this in the $40 range, especially if you're cool with a white tester box, which I am. It's the very strange teddy bear bottle. We're talking about Moschino Toy Boy. Beautiful, fresh, and spicy rose. Quality's pretty good. Performance is fantastic. It's more on the unique side. This stuff is so good. And I'm a fan of floral fragrances. That is not a secret. If you've been watching this channel for a decent amount of time, you've seen me discuss my love for rose, marigold, certain jasmines, and especially iris and orris. My favorite notes in perfumery is iris/orris, because orris is the root of the iris flower. But this stuff is one of the better designer rose fragrances I've ever put my nose on. It's very flamboyant. This is extremely different. It's not something that every guy is going to wear. You have to be a confident man to work with this one. It's definitely on the more feminine side, but it still has masculine tones to it with all of the spice that comes along with the scent profile. This is a fragrance enthusiast fragrance for sure. It's an interesting bottle because Moschino does off-the-wall stuff with their designs. They've always been that way. Hell, Moschino Fresh looks like a Windex bottle, for God's sakes. It's cool looking. It works with the scent profile. The teddy bear, don't know how to tie it to the scent profile, to be honest with you, but hey, It's what they created. It definitely makes for an interesting conversation piece if somebody sees this on your dresser. But the scent profile, to me, is masterfully done. It's refreshing in a way that, because it's so unique, so different, and such off the beaten path. This is really good stuff, and this is the ideal season for it. It's affordable. It does not smell as cheap as you can get it. It's Moschino Toy Boy. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on these 10. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have tried any of these 10 that I featured here in this video? Like I said, with Boss number 6, timeless classic in my opinion. We have some newer releases, some stuff that I haven't worn in a while that I want to reach back in my collection and show a little bit more love to, kind of rekindle the fire and the passion for those scent profiles, such as Mercedes-Benz Intense, for example. Some really good stuff at a really affordable price for this particular autumn season, in my personal opinion. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these 10 and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.